designing dishes is going to make a great sandwich today. It's a pulled pork with tons of barbecue sauce. You're going to love this one.
We begin our braising process for our pork shoulder with 1/4 a cup of vegetable oil. I'm going to let that heat up just for a minute or so, and our pan is already hot. And to that, we're going to add 2 pounds of boneless pork shoulder. And yes, we're going to get a nice sizzle here because we are braising. Now, braising means to cook it in a hot oil on all sides until it is a nice golden brown. And then you almost actually want to have it so it almost looks like it's burned, but it's really not burned. It's really nice and brown. And that's going to give you that flavor of like it's been cooked outside on the pit. So we're going to brown it on all sides, and then we'll come back to you in a couple of minutes. It'll take about 5 minutes on each side.
And that's quarter turns as you're doing this.
Yes, you've got 4 sides. Our meat is browning on the final side here, and we just wanted to say something about sometimes meat sticks to the bottom of the pan, especially if you have a regular pan instead of a non-stick pan. The reason that happens is because the molecules of the meat, as soon as they come in contact with the hot surface, they shrink up. And they shrink up and tighten themselves onto the metal of the pan. So you simply have to cook the meat until the molecules decide they're going to relax off of the bottom of the metal, and then you can turn the meat over. If you try to turn it before the meat is ready to turn, it will rip apart and stick to the bottom of the pan. Now this, to continue, this is going to be our salt, which is a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of chopped onion, 1 clove of minced garlic. We're going to let that cook in the surrounding area around the meat just for about 30 seconds or so.
All right. Now we're going to add 1.5 cups of water because we're going to simmer our pork now. We're lowering the temperature to a low. We're going to put on a lid. The reason you put on the lid very tightly, make sure it fits properly, is so that none of the water will evaporate and the pork will cook nice and evenly. We're going to cook this for an hour and a half.
And also, that water that's in the bottom of the pan is actually going to become the basis for your sauce. This is going to be a homemade sauce on our pork.
While our pork simmers, we're going to go ahead and make our homemade barbecue sauce.
We're going to take 1 1/2 tablespoons of flour, and this is 1 cup of ketchup, and this is 1 tablespoon of yellow mustard.
I like mustard, don't you?
Yeah, that's a good thing in barbecue sauce, definitely. All right.
You want to stir that up a little while I go ahead and add 3 tablespoons of vinegar, 2 cloves of finely minced garlic. Fresh garlic is always good in this.
Oh yeah.
And here's the sweetness.
Yum.
3/4 cup of, careful, of brown sugar.
I could just see this ketchup on this yellow sugar. It would not be pretty.
Sure wouldn't.
You know, I think we're going to have to switch from this this wire whip to a spoon.
Yeah, let me get you a spoon.
Brown sugar is getting caught up in that thing. Not a good thing.
Not a good thing, but that's okay.
All right.
We'll just switch out and use a spoon here.
Now this is a fairly sweet barbecue sauce. It's not over the top sweet, and it's not spicy. So for my partner here, we need a bottle of hot sauce to go in here. So you can add other things to it if you want it sweeter. Add more brown sugar. If you want it more mustard or more vinegar, add a little bit more. Again, you can add spices to it like some red pepper, some Worcestershire, all kinds of things you can add to it. This is just a basic sauce. After your pork roast has braised for about an hour and a half on the simmer, you're just going to take 2 forks and you just simply pull the meat apart. That's the nature of the name pulled pork. That's all you're doing is just pulling it apart with 2 forks. And it's almost like you're shredding it.
Right. Now if there's any extra fat on there, now's the time to take that off because you don't want that on your sandwich.
And you don't want to try to take that fat off before you cook the meat because it's real hard to get out. It's going to be all down in between all the the pieces of meat, so it's much, much easier to deal with it after it's cooked than it is before it's cooked. So I'll finish shredding this and we'll get right back with you.
We're putting the pulled pork back into our original pan. We've left all the juices in the pan that we cooked with, and you can see it did end up being about a cup and a half, and we need that to put this back on the stove with our sauce on it, so our pulled pork sandwich will be nice and juicy. Add the barbecue sauce. Go back to the stove after we've stirred this all up. Put it on a simmer for 15 minutes or until the barbecue sauce has turned translucent. To assemble our pulled pork barbecue sandwich, we're using a French hamburger bun. This is easy to handle because this pork, look how nice and juicy it is. We're going to put a half a cup of the pulled pork on.
I was telling Jan earlier, I think the reason everybody likes this recipe so much is because it's really juicy.
Yes, it is very juicy. We're going to garnish with a little bit of fresh avocado. What a nice idea. Add a little twist to this.
Now, one other point, if you prefer to make the pork in the crock pot, you can do that. But what you'll need to do is you'll need to take it out of the crock pot, do the pulling process, and then put it into a saucepan on the top of the stove to finish it off with the barbecue sauce. So we hope that you have enjoyed this, and we do hope that you'll tune in for our upcoming sandwich and beer party.
Sounds fun. We're the designing dishes.